Shalom, Yasharallah. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakach Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that ruled well. And salutation and much love for you, Aki, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here quick lesson, which was inspired, pretty much dealing with these, however you want to call these little situations or whatever, whatnot, with like Antifa, the Black Lives Matter movement, the Proud Boys, and all these different factions in these different groups, all right? And their purpose that they're going to serve in this here, this end-all, be-all, the final showdown, because as you understand it, we're in the year, like Apostle Sahar deemed the year of prophecy. So you're seeing prophecy take place all over the, all in the four corners of the earth, all at the same time. It's like those birth pains coming back to back to back to back, as we're sitting here speaking on the uprisings of the people and everything like that, all right? Simultaneously, you have the global economic meltdown, which is pushing forward towards the RFID chip. All right, also in the background, you have wars and rumors of wars, and all these different things are going on simultaneously, all right? So just to, put in perspective about these different, not to say militia groups, but these different groups. You got the in fact, with Grandmaster Jay, Black Lives Matter movement, which was set up by George Soros to cause disruption and thing. The majority of these people are Edomites, the Antifa movement, the anti-fascist movement, all right, the Proud Boys, all these different groups and things like that, all right? So we're going to start here in the book of Luke, chapter 21. I'm going to start at verse 9. It says, "But when you shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by." And a prime example of that, about the wars, all right, like in Matthew 24, wars and rumors of wars, all right? But it says, "For these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by." All right, so as you can remember how 2020 started out, all right, with the assassination of General Qasem Soleimani out there in Iran, all right? They had all those World War III memes and everything going on, but scriptures say, "For these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by," all right? Depending on how long World War III is going to take, which is going to be a quick war, all right, as far as the hot war goes, all right, it's not going to be too much news on that, But nevertheless, going back to it, it says, you should hear of wars and commotions. Now, going into these commotions, all right, let me read, let me just read 10 and 11, just, to throw these, because I was mentioning these different prophecies as well. "Then he said unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places. Famines and pestilence and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven." And touching on these things briefly, you got these famines going on all over the earth, with the coronavirus shutdowns, which is disrupting the food supply chains, and people losing their jobs and can't afford to pay their rent and things like that, which is cutting into their budget for food and things like that, But nevertheless, you got the pestilence, these different so-called diseases and things going around, right? But let me jump down to verse 25. "And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars." You also have, record-breaking, we got a close call with asteroids flying past the earth or whatever, whatnot. They just snuck up on us or whatever, "And upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, and the sea in the way is roaring. Men's hearts failing them for the fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken." All right, so now in this here scenario, man, you have distress upon nations with perplexity. You got all these different problems and issues that, is to the point to where people are starting to uprise and have these protests about things, whether it be, how they used to have to occupy Wall Street, over economic things. You have this in certain nations. All right, the so-called Black Lives Matter movement all over the whole globe. All right, you have, like the Hong Kong protest, the Yellow Vest protest. All right, you have here with these the elections going on, you have these different, the Antifa, the Proud Boys, and all these different groups and things like that. Why are you seeing all these people globally starting to rise up to stand for their so-called cause right now, man? All right, this is all playing into what the prophecies that's taking place right before your eyes. All right, it says, "Men's hearts failing them for the fear and looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken." Just like, they have this saying that's going on around right now. It's like, no matter who wins in November, there's going to be an uprising and a protest, and it's not going to be looking nice. If Trump, Trump's already talking about certain things like this. Oh, well, if he loses, it's going to be to the worst candidate ever. He don't know how he's going to take that or whatever, whatnot, and how they're going to remove him out of office. And you have some of these same groups saying, "Hey, he's not leaving office over my dead body," when they tried to impeach him and everything like that, And if Joe Biden gets into office, you already understand how the Trump faction and the people that, you know, think like Trump and stuff is going to pick up arms and everything like that, because they feel like, hey, this is the last strand. If they lose this, they're going to lose everything, you know. They're going to lose their slaves and everything, you know. So this is causing that spirit of uprising amongst all these different people, man. All right, and this is why you're seeing these protests and these people marching through the streets, and, you know, you're seeing all these different, how you say, militarized police units being mobilized, all right, out there against them, you know. So let me go from there to Isaiah 19. I want to say it's verse 1 and 2. First, the point is in verse 2. It says, and I will set Egyptians against Egyptians. All right. And you have to understand, this is talking about, you know, more or less to say, this is more like saying the slave master. You know how the scriptures say, the dead body should lie in the streets of the city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. All right. This is kind of like saying, you know, like Jake say, oh, this is Mr. Big Time or whatever, whatnot. You know, it's not necessarily saying that you the man or whatever, whatnot. This is your perception of yourself. But these are basically saying like the people who enslaved us and stuff like that. It says, I will set Egyptian against Egyptian. All right, these Americans versus Americans, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. All right, so hey, right now you have a house divided, which they've always had, you know, with the so-called paradigm of the Democrats and Republicans. But as you see, as it trickles down to the people, man, everybody's divided, man. It's like, for instance, where I work and where I live at and things like that, you ride down certain streets and it's just nothing but Donald Trump flags and signs and billboards in people's yards. And then, you know, there's, you know, people that tag those signs. Then you go on another street over and it's nothing but Biden and Kamala Harris signs, you know, or whatever, whatnot. And I would just be thinking, I'm like, boy, if these people walk on the other side of the block, it might be a showdown, you know. But nevertheless, these people are putting up their so-called flags of who they represent and who, you know, these types of things, which party they're standing for, which side of the fence they're on in this so-called battle of all these Americans, you know. But nevertheless, it says, and I will set Egyptian against Egyptian, and they shall fight everyone against his brother. You know, because you had people that were on their job, friends and everything like that. But now it comes down to the elections, Antifa, the Proud Boys, or Black Lives Matter. When any of these subjects come up in a conversation, it could turn things sour, you know. You could be a Jake working with these Edomites, and y'all are all, you know, cool on the job and cordial or whatever, whatnot. But then, you know, the conversation comes up, I don't know, why these black people over here burning down their own cities and things like that. And then as a Jake, you be like, well, shit. They just want some damn justice or whatever, whatnot. And if you're not going to hear him like this, it's just like a baby. Well, look, if I make a little noise here and there and you don't give me no attention, I'm going to just cry louder, you know. I'm going to disrupt this place until I get what I want, you know. But nevertheless, this causes a divide amongst what? These people, these neighbors, these people that are, you know, amongst each other. Again, like I said, in the neighborhood, you can see a yard full of Trump flags. Right next door is a yard full of Biden flags and things like that. And these two guys go outside to check their mail and shit, and they looking at each other like, man, I'm about to cut this dude's throat or whatever, whatnot, you know. This is that division that's being, that spirit of division that's coming upon, not just Babylon, but upon the whole earth, you know, either on this topic or that topic, this topic or that topic. You know, nobody's really on the same side of the fence on anything except for, you know, the brothers that's in this here truth, you know, because why we have that common bond in Yahushua, you know. So let's go from there to, you know what, we'll actually close out with this in 2nd Ezra 15, because this is going to show, let me read this. Let me read this here first. All right, 2nd Ezra 15, and I'm going to start at verse 1 and read down to verse 5. It says, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith Yahweh. And this is what we're saying right now. You know, we're not advocating for any of these groups. We don't support any of these groups. We're basically against all these groups, you know, because we know that, for one, like the scriptures say, you know, you're going to go into Egypt again on ships, and no man shall buy you, which means redeem you. All right, so no matter how much marching we do as so-called black people wanting justice and these things like that, we're not going to get them until the Lord comes back, man. All right, so this is why we're out here bonded together through Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, all right, to push out this here prophecy, all right, doing the will of the Lord, not going into our own feelings and standing up for our own, what we believe is right or whatever, whatnot, you know. Verse 2, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Again, we're reading these prophecies right now. Fear not the imagination against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee, you know. So, you know, some people might be like, again, you might be at work, you know, as a Jake, working with these Edomites, and then all of a sudden the conversation come up about the riots or whatever, whatnot, and Black Lives Matter protests, you know, and you know how it is being Jake or whatever, whatnot, and you surrounded by all these Edomites at work. If you don't play a certain type of role or whatever, whatnot, you get ostracized, and your whole damn job go downhill from there, man. You know, you got to play into blank, man. You know, whether you actually support the Black Lives Matter or not, you just be like, man, them people out there is dumb or whatever, whatnot, because you already know it's going to just cause even more division. And, you just there to get a paycheck. You're like, man, let me just be peaceful with all men if possible. Let me just goddamn do whatever, whatnot. Hey, even on voting, man, damn near Jake cut your damn head off if you don't want to vote nowadays, man. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, hey, man, this is the times that we're in where there's a great division amongst people, man. These uprisings of these people, man, and it's all what? Biblical prophecy coming to pass, man. This is why everybody's on edge and everybody's on eggshells, Verse 4, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness, because you believing in this party or whatever, whatnot, woe unto you that put your trust in Egypt, man. You believing in whatever you're marching for, these uprisings, these protests. You think that if you get your way, you fighting for better wages and things like that. All right, they give you better wages. They're going to just increase the price of everything else. They're going to just tax you more. All right, oh, we want police reform. It don't mean it ain't. I mean, it's not literally on the law to be like, all right, it's legal for us to kill niggas. It's not literally like that on the laws, but nevertheless, they can get around certain things by doing certain things certain ways. So no matter how they write it in the so-called legislation, it's not going to really fare out for you, because this is not, like Scripture said, this is not your rest. This place is polluted. It's going to destroy you. All right. But nevertheless, you have all these different things that people are believing in. It's going to fix and save their situation, but it's really not. All right. Verse 5, behold, saith Yahweh, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. All right. And these are a lot of the different things that why people are standing up and uprising for right now, man. All right. So it says, I will bring plagues upon the world, For one, the coronavirus lockdowns. People are tired of being shut in. They want to get out and go on. They tired of wearing masks and things like that. All right. The sword, man. Jake out here protesting for getting shot down in the streets from the police, man. All right. Famine. Again, going back to the lockdowns, man. All right. People can't go to work, can't feed their kids, can't, so on and so forth, getting evicted, man. All right. Death and destruction, again. People want to cut your heads off for not wearing a damn mask nowadays, Now, let me jump down to verse 14. All right. Woe unto the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And as you see with like the Grandmaster Jay and his situation and these other groups and stuff like that, they going out here with their arms, their guns in their hands, these white militia groups and everything else like that. So on and so forth. You see the police come out to the protests and they're heavily armed, heavily militarized and everything like that. All right, and you wonder, like, damn, how did things escalate so bad? Like, again, it's not just, you don't have just the Black Lives Matter protests. You don't have just the Antifa protests. You don't have just like the Proud Boys, the economic people protests. You don't have, how you call it, the, you say, how you say, the people that's voting for, or not voting, the people that's protesting and marching and trying to, how do I say, persuade you to go out there and vote in these things like that, man. You have all these things all at once, man. All right. It says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. All right. And this is what you have going on right now with these uprisings, these protests. It's not like people are just marching in the street, man. All right. You have these cities that are being, whether it's done by agent provocateurs or just actual people out there, just they seeing certain things, monkey see, monkey do. Oh, if they doing it, let us do it. And this is how these agent provocateurs work. But it says there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So a lot of these people, the politicians and the police, politicians basically are saying, hey, have your protests, but let them be peaceful and everything like that. But then what do you see happening? They're going out there with rocks, Molotov cocktails, burning things down, breaking windows. Then the police are coming in like a great flood, more or less to say, and they're clashing, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, But nevertheless, this is all biblical prophecy taking place in your face, man. You wonder why all these protests and things. Hey, man, it's not like it's just, it's just some old bullshit that's going on. These things have been going on. They have, but not to this scale to where it's all over the whole globe, man. Show me a country where you don't have these types of uprisings and these protests going on around the earth, man. All right, damn near in every city. I know my grandma stays in a little small town where the population probably only like 4,000 people. They got they put like 2 new red lights in there, but they only had 1 red light, like 2 fast food jump offs. You know what I'm saying? It's a small little spot, man. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, they got 3 schools, elementary, high school, and middle school, and they take 1 bus to pick up all 3 schools all at the same time. So if your brother in high school and you in elementary school, y'all going to the bus stop at the same time, getting on the same bus, then they drop you off at each school. That's how small this place is, They even had a Black Lives Matter protest. I'm like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't even got enough people out there for all this protest. But nevertheless, hey, this is a biblical prophecy. This is why it's undeniable that these are the signs that the Most High spoke about, In fact, let me close out with that. In 2 Esdras chapter 9. 2 Esdras 9:1. And he answered me and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and we can measure through these prophecies. And when thou seest part of the signs past which I've told thee before, Then thou shalt understand it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, not just in your community, but in the world, then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. All right. Let me just read 5 and 6. For like all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Even so the times of the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works and ending in effects and signs. All right. So, hey, man, this is plain as day, man. It's the handwriting is on the wall, man. It's in every language so you can read. It's even on audiobook so you can hear it if you can't, if you can't understand, man. All right. You got the prophets breaking it down to you left and right, left and right. There's no excuse, man. The signs are all being revealed, man. All right, these are the times that we're living in. All right. So, Lord willing, the elect was edified with that their lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And citation and much love for you. I can push this truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and enduring the afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.